So there's several ways to do the same thing in FL Studio. That's one of the things that I really enjoy about FL Studio, is that allows you to do the same thing several ways. So let's bring here some samples. So I have a bunch of sample packs or construction kits. Let's go maybe with here the 14, and let's grab a sample. Let's go, maybe not this one. Yeah, could be something like this. This is a more complex because I think it has some chords. So one way that I like to do this is, the best way for me is to use, for instance, slice X. So this is the way that I like to work with samples. So what I do, I just grab a sample and bring it here. And as you can see now, we have all the shops. Sometimes we need to go and do some cleanup of the sample like that, so that we can have the best shops possible. But as you can see now, I can play the notes and change the pitch. And this is one of the things that I really like to do. So it's very important for you to know the key of the sample. So in this case, the sample does not have a key. So if the sample does not have a key and you want to know, it's very important, because if you start messing around with pitch, for instance here, you might you might find issues when you want to add other instruments. So it's always good to know what is the key of the sample. To do that, I usually do a copy of this sample or this instrument, so that I can have the sample here where I manipulate it. And this one is just for reference. So what I'm going to do here in this one, we have some options here in the range. And one of the options, actually it's not in the range, is in this one, the regions. And we have here detect pitch regions. So what this will do is basically the pitch is the note of the sample, or the notes of every sample. And what we can do here, it will detect the pitch of every region. So we have here a bunch of regions. If I do this, now you see that some of the regions changed. So the slices changed, but now we can see that we have, for instance, E4, E4 here, and pretty much this is E4. But because this is a chord, it's probably E minor chord. So let's delete this. And what I can do now is load up another piano so that I can see that if it's actually in the correct key. We can close this one now. And let's do, for instance, let's do a note E here. And if I play both together, so now they sound in tune. If it was not D or E, for instance D, it also sounds good because it's probably belongs to the same key. But if I do D sharp, now it sounds dissonant. It sounds not so good. Let's go with F sharp. F sharp sounds good. This one doesn't sound good, F. So we could actually, with this information, knowing that we have, for instance, E is part or is the one of the notes of the sample here, as you can see. We could also check the other ones. Basically, it's all E because this is it's a very simple sample. As you can see, we have A there, but most of the times is E. So what we could do is actually get the notes of the scale that we are using. So I know E belongs, F doesn't belong, F sharp belongs, this one could also belong, this one not so much, A also belongs because we saw A there, A sharp not so much, B could work, C, I don't know, C could also work, D also, and D sharp not so much. So then we are back to E. So we could use this information of knowing what is the one of the notes in the scale or in the sample, and we could extrapolate the key of the sample or the scale of the sample, sorry, the scale in which the sample was created, and then we could go ahead and bring other instruments and we could do a piano, we could do bass, we could do whatever, you know. And with this information, it's very easy for us producers to start working or taking the bass sample and then adding more instruments on top of it to make our compositions more interesting and more complex. So this is one of the ways to use another slice X. But if you don't want to slice your sample, if you just want to use the sample as it is, you could still bring it into slice X, but there's another way to do this. So let's delete slice X and let's right click here with in the sample, and let's do edit in audio editor. And this basically will give us the same, almost the same tools that we have here in slice X. So if I go here for the regions again, I have also this option, detect pitch regions. If I click here, you see that I get the same thing. And this is a very easy way to get, do the same thing as slice X. So it's, as I told you, is getting the same thing in different ways. And that's one of the reasons why I really like FL Studio, because it allows you that flexibility. You don't necessarily have to do things one way. You can have multiple ways to do the same thing. There's also another way to do things, to detect the note of the sample. And okay, this is one of them. Let's go here to the mixer. We can actually delete the Edison. And again, the process would be the same. You load this into Edison, check the pitch regions, and then you will be able to see what is the note of the sample or the pitch of the sample. And from then you can try to extrapolate the scale that it was used. Another way would be to, let's maybe do a loop like this. Something like that, or we can actually just use this one here, for instance. And what we could do is bring here a new plugin from FL Studio. It's called Tuner. And if I play this, it's actually, I lost the selection. No, why? I don't know why. Let's keep it like that. And as you can see, if I play, now it's not listening. I don't know why. It's giving me A2, shouldn't be. So let's increase the reactivity. Oh, now it's going to the correct key. So sometimes it can be a little bit hard to get the correct a note. I usually like to increase the reactivity. The other day I was recording some guitars with a friend of mine from Portugal, and we used the tuner to tune the guitar. So this was a great tool to have in our in FL Studio, because it was easy to just connect the guitar and check if it was the correct pitch, or if the guitar was in tune. And as you can see, now we have E4. When I use samples, I like to increase the reactivity to make it a little bit more fast to recognize the notes. And as you can see, we could actually go all the way, and you see that it's jumping too much. So maybe we can decrease a little bit so that it's stable, and that would be a nice option. So let's go. We have this one. Let's go to this one here. Maybe it's the same. So this one is A. So now we could actually test that out. Let's bring A here. Maybe on a lower. Actually, this I think is actually E, not A. I don't know. I would have to see the actual sample note. But again, this could be one of the ways to also do that, to catch the note of the sample. Could be a way. I like to do it with Edison or Slice X, but this could also be a way.